Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Tremor Talk. I'm Sharon, and I was a mentee for Tremor in 2021 under the LFX Summer Mentorship Program. Now I help to maintain Tremor's documentation, and I also work with Benu, which is a startup in Berlin. I do some web design and e-commerce integration. Today I'm going to talk about my project during my mentorship at Tremor, my what I was expected to do, what I actually did, and how it turned out. But first, I will talk about myself a little bit and my background, my mentorship and contribution experience, and then finally, maybe a contribution guide to anyone who would be interested in contributing to Tremor. So, at the time of my mentorship at Tremor, I was a student and I was also teaching myself to be a developer. So, for anyone who's a self-taught developer, you know how overwhelming it can be. So with all the information on the internet, and you can just feel like you're drowning in it. And at that time, that's how I felt, and I needed some guidance. And that's why I was quite happy to find the LFX mentorship opportunity. And I was even happier to find Tremor because I felt like it was a right fit for me. It was a small project in its early stages, and most of all, I liked how the team were not afraid to admit that they're having a challenge with the web design and documentation, technical writing stuff. I thought that was really cool because I felt like I could do that, and they needed it, so it was really a good fit, and it was also a low risk environment, so I felt a bit confident and less intimidated. The aim of my project was to redesign Tremor's website and try to make its user experience better. But it's important to understand why this project was necessary. So a little background about Tremor is at that time, the project was only about 2 years old, and the team had prioritized putting content in place. And a problem arose from that, such that the different content forms were in different frameworks. For example, the website was on MKDocs, it was on Hugo. The documentation was on MKDocs. RFCs and courseware were also in different frameworks. So one of the first things I needed to do was to unite all these content forms in one framework with the same design, to promote consistency, because having all those content forms in different places, first of all, is not good for user experience, and it's a bit confusing. And in doing that, also needed to find a way to to improve how the users would navigate from one page to another, smoothly. And also another important thing we we aimed to add was documentation versioning. At that time, the project was using Markdown for data entry, and we wanted to preserve that. We also wanted to add a search bar. There were other little things like a dark mode, light mode toggle, which it's just good for user experience, and a lot of other things that we'll look at as we move along. So there were 3 stages. The project was in 3 months, and Heinz, my mentor, and I decided to split the project into 3 stages. So the first month, obviously, was introduction, getting familiar with the projects, looking at the different GitHub repositories for the different content forms. So there was the main website, the docs, the request for comments, and it was a lot. It was a lot, and especially for the team, which they had looked at all these things for a long time, and they needed fresh eyes. And I was fresh eyes for a while there, and so I looked at the website and I provided a report, which you can find on that link. A few things that I noticed needed improvement, or things that we could improve. and we did work on that, as we'll talk about as we move along. Another important thing we did in the first month was talking to the CNCF Tech Docs team, especially Celeste. Thank you so much if you're watching. I mean, she was really helpful with this, and the first month was a lot, but I learned a lot of things, a lot about the Git workflow, raising good issues, writing pull requests, and just in general collaborating with an open source project. And one of the most important skills that I still try to practice to this day is not taking, just a lot of not taking. Which Dara really insisted on, and I still think it's a good skill. I learned about community and that people are more important than software. And I thank Heinz for that, because Tremor, everyone was so nice and helpful on Tremor. And yeah, I think it's something that I still think was very valuable to me. It's still valuable to me. The second month, by then we had figured out a few things, what we need to do, but now we needed to make decisions to see which framework to go with, because I mean, there are a lot of static site generators out there, but well, we needed to know what we wanted and the things that were important to us. And there's a lot of criteria to consider when it comes to making decisions. And I mean, at the end of the day, you have to make a decision, and any decision is better than no decision. So we had to make a decision and consider so many things, like, for example, the users, the community, the CNCF, the things that we actually needed. And we considered frameworks like, for example, Hugo, which we're already using, Docusaurus, Zola, Sphinx, and many others. And as you can see from the report, from the summary, and I'll also talk about it in detail a lot more as we move along. Now we had laid out our criteria, 12 of them to be precise, and 7 of our most eligible frameworks. And it was time to test them to see which one best met our needs for the project. Spoiler alert: Docusaurus was what we chose. We did this by assigning 1 to every criteria met and 0 when it didn't meet the criteria, and 0.5 for when a framework somewhat met our criteria. So Docusaurus was not very great with navigation, and also we were not very sure that it would be popular with the CNCF because it uses Hugo. But anyway, it was the best decision. We thought it was the best decision based on, after considering all the criteria and everyone involved. So at this point, it was about halfway through the project, and I thought we were making some progress, which I wrote about. You can find the blog here on my post here on my blog. The third phase, or the third month, we had now decided on a framework, and we needed to set it up and configure it. And after doing that, we needed to migrate content from MKDocs and Hugo. And after that, created pages and enabled other features, the versioning, the blog, the search button, dark mode, light mode. Then the next was the design and the layout, and then finally we deployed the website, and you can find it on that link. Through the whole process, and especially on this phase, I learned a lot of uh, technical writing skills, documentation, some web design skills. And I remember how at that time uh, I was not very sure of myself, and I remember Heinz telling me to the benefits of asking for early feedback from the community. So I remember posting my progress on the general channel on Discord, and I got some really good feedback, some positive and some constructive criticism as well. And I remember that really helped and sped up the process. So I would recommend anyone to always request for early feedback. It, yeah, you'd be surprised how much it helps. Uh, Also, okay, as you may have seen, Docusaurus did not meet all our criteria, and it was not the technically best solution. In fact, there were others that would have been better, but for example, Sphinx used restructured text, which Heinz thought was better than Markdown, but also Markdown is easier and has a lower learning curve than restructured text. So it's might be the technically best solution, but it was not the right solution because we had to consider everyone and how easy it would be for everyone in the community to contribute, or any other new contributors coming in to contribute to Tremor. And this is a glimpse of how the website looks now. So that is the landing page and the documentation, the RFCs. I really liked my experience contributing to Tremor as a mentee, mostly because of I just had the best mentor ever, Heinz. I really liked his approach to his mentorship approach. I liked how he was open and let me figure out things on my own you know before telling me what to do. Yes, he'd offer suggestions and send me lots of books and links and a lot of resources before meetings and even after to check up. But he he always let me figure out things, and I find that that's one of the best ways for me to learn, and I learned a lot during that time. I liked how we talked about a lot, ranging from uh, the project to other things, other aspects of life like food, technology, food and photography, which he's really good at, by the way. And I like sometimes I noticed that I was a bit shy, and sometimes I needed a little help with the networking, and he would introduce me to other members of the team, the community, and even with the CNCF team. And it was really good, and I feel like I have become better at it than I was. So thank you so much, Heinz. It was a really good experience. Also, thank you to everyone at Tremor, the whole team, the community on Discord, and yeah, thank you to everyone because especially because even after my mentorship, it's not like it ended there. Heinz kept saying that even if your mentorship has ended, it has not really ended because they're still there and they still help from time to time when I need them. And I'm sure any other mentee, any other person on the team can, any other person in the community can attest to that. Also, after my mentorship, thanks to Derek, who recommended me to Benue, I was able to get a job, and also after that, I remained as I joined the Tremor team, which has been exciting, and there's been a lot of growth. I've learned so much and keep learning so much, and I hope that I can be able to continue making more progress on the website and the documentation. And yeah, so thank you. Thank you to the Linux Foundation, to the CNCF, Celeste, and the entire Tech Docs team, to the whole team at Tremor, Heinz, Derek, Matthias, Natalie, Anna, and Ramona, and to the whole Tremor community. So redesigning the website was just a first step, and setting up Docusaurus only means that there's a lot more that we can do now with the website, with the documentation, syntax highlighting, which looks really great, and versioning, localization. There's really a lot we can do, and I welcome anyone to contribute to Tremor, and you can find the community on Discord, on this link, and the contribution guide on this link on the website. And Tremor is a great community, great people, and anybody is welcome to contribute. There's a lot more other links and resources that are relevant to my project and this talk here. For example, the link to the website, the source code, contribution guide, and a lot of other links you might find, resources you might find helpful. So feel free to look at them. And this is where you can find me if you want to talk to me. And yeah, thank you for listening, and enjoy the rest of TremorCon 2022. Thank you.